Good morning. Ayin Beis. We're at the end of Ayin Beis and learning the background, the source material in Torah Miketz Chanukah. And we're at the end of the paragraph, the last paragraph of the Maimer Hamagbil L'Sheves, 38D at the bottom. Let's review what we're up to, and obviously all in the context of Ayin Beis. So essentially, this Maimer, which is coming out to its conclusion, is talking about Ner Hashem Nishmas Adam, the three aspects of a candle, which are wick, fuel, oil, and the flame and fire it creates. Namely, the divine soul is the wick as it comes into the body, an animal soul. The shemen is let me just see here. Is the oil and the fuel of the animal, the wisdom of the animal soul that's fueling the Avos Hashem, V'ahavta Hashem Elokecha through the contemplation of Shema. And finally, and the fire it creates is the love and the divine love and the divine light. Then Ner Mitzvah V'Torah Ner Mitzvah is Levushim Makif, that has a particular power to elevate the animal soul to high states. Can everyone put themselves on mute? For some reason. Why is
that? Your voice seems garbled to me. I don't know.
Eliezer's not muted. Eliezer Gold's not muted.
Why can't I mute people? What happened here? As the host. Okay. So Ner Mitzvah, the mitzvah is the makifim, the levush that elevates the animal soul, and that is and the mitzvah itself. We'll soon talk about the three aspects of it. That mitzvah is then leads to Torah. The mitzvah leads to Torah, which is Hamshacha V'Ein Ein Sof in its pure form, where you have the divine exactly as it is above, comes down below. Now, this Torah, how will you draw this Torah down? Is nechaz, it's through the wick of the mitzvah. So the mitzvah becomes the wick. The shemen is the mitzvahs that are engaging with the animal soul and the intellectual soul, and it's elevated to Torah, the Torah that it creates. But this needs the preface of the abundance of Ner Hashem Nishmas Adam, that the soul, it contemplates in Shema, that, so to speak, trains and tames the animal soul, to directing its love to godliness. Then a mitzvah has the power to the point of transforming it, like he said, Shemeshapech mamish mehepech el hepech, mesechel anushe amusig, from human intelligence, to comprehensible human intelligence, to the divine, you can call it ethereal or transcendent intelligence of Torah. So there you have it. Basically, the three elements is the neshama does it through its avodah of contemplation. The mitzvah takes it to another level of transforming the animal soul, and Torah is the ultimate place where it leads to, because Torah is reflective exactly of the divine, the pure divine. That's what we've learned in this context of how this works. Now, we didn't go into more detail. There will be much more detail, both in the next Maimer of the Torah and the Mittler Rebbe's Maimer, but we didn't go into more detail here. Okay. And ultimately, the goal is that it transforms the person, also transforms all of the physical world, because all the mitzvahs are connected to the physical, and everything physical is encompassed within the mitzvahs, to the point the Yimala Kved Hashem is Kol Ha'aretz Alazu Hagash, to bring the divine into this physical world. And that's the process. So the human being, obviously, the neshama is the key agent that does it. There's the power that the neshama has to do it through its contemplation, through Shema. And then there's the power that the mitzvahs and the Torah provide, and altogether adds up to a transformation of the entire material world and the material animal soul to the divine. That's what he said here. So we have here the neshama, mitzvahs, and Torah. You can put it that way. All how it impacts the animal soul and the world around us. So with that said, let us learn now the last paragraph, where he takes us back to the original verse that he began the whole mimer, and that's a verse Mika Hashem Elokeinu. That's a verse in Tehillim, as I pointed out yesterday, Kuf Yud Gimel Hey 113:5. Mika Hashem Elokeinu Hamagbi Losheves, and then he continues Hamashpili Lires B'Shamayim Ba'aretz. So let's translate what this means in simple English, and then we'll see how the Alter Rebbe is going to explain it and use that verse to explain what it, but understand it with what we just learned about Ner Hashem Nishmasadim, Ner Mitzvah, and Torah Er. So the way they translate here, who's like Hashem, who is like God, who dwells on high. So basically, Hamagbi L'Sheves means, they're translating he dwells on high. But the truth is, Hamagbi means to lift up. L'Sheves means to dwell. L'Sheves means to sit down. So really, the language is more than just he dwells on high. But that's how I see they translate it in one of the translations. Then the next verse, he says, Hamashpili lires b'shamayim v'aretz. He looks down, yet he looks down. Mashpili means hashpala. He looks down, lires. Looks down below to low upon to look down, lires to see b'shamayim v'aretz in heaven and earth. So in other words, it's talking about God on exalted state, hamagbi l'sheves, and then hamashpili as he comes down to look at the world below. So you see here right away, amalmata l'mayla, amalmayla l'mata language. So keep that in mind as we learn this. And now the Alter Rebbe is going to explain what this pasuk means. We'll go slowly because he's medayik in every letter and every word exactly how it's written. Interesting. Just 1 second. Okay, let's see how he touches it. So I'm reading now the bottom of page 38D, and you can find the pages at ayinbeis.com. So he says like this. Now we'll understand the verse that he began the whole mimer with, Hamagbi l'sheves, which, as I said, they interpret the interpretation. I don't even understand why they interpret that way. He dwells on high, Magbi l'sheves. Okay. So the Alter Rebbe says, Pirush Hamagbiya Yud. The interesting language he's being medayik here is, why does it say Magbihi? Magbiya. It says Magbiya with a Yud afterwards. Magbihi. So the Alter Rebbe is being medayik what that Magbiya, the Yud at the end of the word Magbiya. Magbiya Yud. Who Yud Shebehei. So the word Hey, when you say a letter Hey, which refers to Hashem, it consists of 3 kavim, three lines. There's the roof, the top, there's the right that are connected, and then there's the left leg. So the right leg and the top are like a daled, and the left leg is like a yud. So the Alter Rebbe is explaining. Now all this again is very brief. That's why I'm spelling it out. So he says the yud shebehei. And when you look at the letter hey, there's a yud, that's the left leg. Shehadaled hu b'chinas deles, or dalis, from the word dal. The word dal, the dalid, which is the top and the right leg of the hay, is from the word dalis or deles, like he says, the less lo le megarmo klum. From the word dal it means from poor, impoverished. As a matter of fact, the next verse, I think he says, "Kimim offer dull." He actually uses the word dull, the poor. Okay, so I'm not sure if the bechinas shadal or bechinas dalis, which means either dalit as in dal or deles, Like he says, the less lemegamo klum. Less means he has nothing. He has nothing of its own. Like we talk about malchus. Has nothing of its own. That's the dalit. Nasa hey, and that dalit becomes a hey when you add a yud. Al yidei hayud shebetecha. When you add that left leg, a yud, then you turn the dalit into a hey. You're taking something that has nothing of its own, bittul, a complete, utter lack, like dal, like poor, and you're adding a yud. Shebetecha v'hainu b'chinas hamitzvah. Shemitzedek nasas doket. This is the level of mitzvah. That from the word tzedek, you make the word tzedakah. So tzedek with a hey is tzedakah. Now, I'm not sure what he means by b'chinas ha-mitzvah. Does he mean mitzvah is what adds the yud that makes from a hey, that from a daled, which is empty, into something that is enriched? In other words, that mitzvah is elevating it. I think that's what he means to say. Shemitzedek nasa tzedakah. So tzedek means justice or kindness. Tzedakah is the actual act of giving tzedakah. The tzedakah terei memgoy. You may remember the previous column. He spoke that all mitzvahs are called tzedakah, and tzedakah is terei memgoy. He said tzedakah terei memgoy, it elevates. So he's referring back to that. So what we see from that a mitzvah elevates things. That's why when you give tzedakah, what are you doing? You're elevating, you're in energizing and reviving the spirit of the fallen or the lifeless spirit. So how much more so that the Eibishter, through you doing a mitzvah, embraces you and elevates and revives us. The Eid Ein Sof Baruch Hu. So that's what he's saying here. So let's go over it again. The dalit refers to a poor person, to poorness, to poor. The yud is the level of the mitzvah that takes that and makes it into a hey, and that teremim goy ayidei shemagbias b'chinas hayud shebehei lamay be'eid Ein Sof Baruch Hu mamish. So it's magbia, it elevates. That's why magbia l'sheves, that it magbia yud. That it elevates this state of the Dalit all the way to Eid Ein Sof, the highest levels. So basically, he explained what is Hamagbihi with the Yud, Hamagbiya, and the Yud is what elevates it all the way up through the Yud, like what a mitzvah does, that elevates all the way up to the highest levels. That's how he explains it here. Very brief. I have to review it again. I think the Mittler Rebbe explains it at length, relatively in his mimer, but I'm just trying to make heads and tails here again. So Hamagbi'i, Pirish Hamag. I'm reading it again. Pirish Hamagbi'a Yud. The Yud is the Hey. Shadal the Bechin is Dal. That's the Magmaklum. Okay. Nasa Hey Adeh Yud Shebetech B'Chalam Mitzvah. Okay, so it's Taiche Magbia es Ayud. The Magbia Yud, that you're elevating the Yud all the way up, and that's what a mitzvah does. That's how he explains the first word, Hamagbia. Next comes the word L'sheves. But let me stop if anybody wants me to clarify anything. Magbia Yud. Magbia Yud. He elevates the Yud.
Rabbi Jacobson, are we taught that when we do a tzedakah, it's literally Hashem's name, Yud Ke Vav Ke, Yud being the coin, He the 5 fingers, Vav the hamshacha, and then He the hand of the receiver. So isn't this same elevation we're talking about? That we're elevating everything all the way to the Hashem's name?
Well, that's what he doesn't bring that. He brings what he says here. From tzedek becomes tzedakah. Is that correct? What you said? Yes, it's correct. But does that add anything to what we're learning here, or you're just correlating the two?
I was just trying to see if the elevating the yud is it literally is it the yud of the yud kevavke? Is that's my question?
I don't know. I have no clue. I'm trying to figure out what the Rebbe, Alter Rebbe said here. He didn't bring that. So he brings this and says that Magbia Yud, that you're elevating the Yud.
Can I ask what
So first I thought the
what is
Yud is okay.
what is happening? I mean, tzedek is not exactly it's not exactly nothing. It's some kind of midah. It's righteousness, and so you're adding the yud to elevate it into an action. Basically, you're taking a concept and you're turning it into an action. So is it? In other words, is it going
righteousness
from
righteousness is a midah in the heart. You have righteousness. Tzedakah is the actual mitzvah to do it.
Correct. So you're going from a concept to an action.
Or from,
in other words,
from a midah, from a characteristic to an action, yeah.
Right. And so first you go from the contemplation. So we say Shema. We talked about that
But no,
preparatory.
There's no contemplation here. We're not talking about contemplation.
No, I understand
about the midah of tzedek.
I understand that. My question is, we started with contemplation, and that brings you to this Abba Rabba or this, but still, it's in your mind. It hasn't transformed the body entirely.
It's not related to this. I don't think it relates to this.
No? Okay.
Definitely not initially. I mean, maybe after we learn it all. I don't see any connection right now to this.
Well, where did the tzedek come from? Tzedek is not a disposition of the nefesh of Bahamas. It's a disposition of the nefesh of the keys. It just seems like he's going from a godly concept to a godly action. We lost you. Son of again. I must have talked him into oblivion. I'm going to text him. So I texted him that we lost him. It looks like his internet connection died again. I don't know what we're going to make of that. Yeah, he texted internet went down again. I think we'll just have to wait for him to come back. So I don't know if people can hear me, but I've been texting with Rabbi Jacobson on the side. He is doing his best to reboot his computer. He doesn't have internet. I asked him if we should continue to wait for him or if he just wants to cancel the rest of the class today. And he said he wasn't sure what to do. I said we would just keep waiting a little while longer. Hopefully, he'll reconnect his computer. But right now, it seems uncertain whether he'll be able to resume the class today. I would give it another 5 minutes maybe, and then I think I'm gonna leave the class. So, anyways, that's an update.
Thanks, Isaac. How long was he on? I just joined after the internet.
He was on for about 20 minutes,
Okay.
give or take, and then he was answering my question, and he just completely dropped out.
You just busted the whole thing.
Yeah, I asked her. My question was too hard.
Internet, you broke the camera, as they say, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm always breaking the mold. What can I say? Yeah, I'm just standing by here. I don't think it's going to happen, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt. So Rabbi Jacobson just posted a note to the Ayin Beis thread that he can't get his computer working yet. So he wants to cancel the rest of class today, and we will resume tomorrow. And he sends his apologies.
Thanks, Isaac.
Yeah, have a good day, everybody.